It comes to you on an ordinary day. You're not looking for it. You're not sitting in therapy having a breakthrough. You're not reading a self-help book or watching an inspirational video. You're just existing, doing laundry, driving, making dinner, and then it hits you. One thought, clear as glass, sharp as truth. He wanted me to feel like this. Not wanted as in hoped for, wanted as in needed, intentionally created, carefully maintained. The confusion, the self-doubt, the constant feeling that you were failing, that you were the problem, that if you could just figure out the right thing to do, the right thing to say, the right way to be, everything would be okay. He wanted you to feel that way. It wasn't accidental. It wasn't because you were difficult to love. It wasn't because you kept making mistakes. It was a feature, not a bug. It was the entire mechanism. And suddenly, everything you've been replaying in your mind shifts. Every fight, every silent treatment, every time he twisted your words or denied your reality or made you feel crazy for feeling hurt. It wasn't poor communication. It wasn't misunderstanding. It wasn't two people struggling to connect. It was strategic. You think about the time you finally articulated exactly what you needed, calmly, clearly, after months of trying to figure out how to say it right. And instead of hearing you, he found a way to make you wrong for needing it. That wasn't a communication breakdown. That was a choice. You think about the time you caught him in a lie, a clear, undeniable lie. And somehow, by the end of the conversation, you were apologizing. You were the one who felt guilty. You were the one questioning what you saw with your own eyes. That wasn't your confusion. That was deliberate manipulation. You think about the pattern you couldn't see while you were in it. How every time you started to feel stable, confident, sure of yourself, something would happen. A criticism, a comparison, a sudden coldness, and you'd be back to walking on eggshells, trying to figure out what you did wrong. He needed you unstable. He needed you insecure, because a confident you was a threat. A woman who trusted herself wouldn't tolerate being diminished, wouldn't accept being gaslit, wouldn't stay. This thought changes everything, because you've spent months, maybe years, analyzing yourself. What did you do wrong? How did you contribute? Why couldn't you make it work? You've taken inventory of every flaw, every mistake, every moment you weren't your best self. And none of it would have mattered, because the relationship wasn't failing due to your imperfections. It was functioning exactly as he designed it, with you off balance, focused on fixing yourself, never looking too closely at him. You realize why you could never win. The rules changed because they were meant to change. You weren't supposed to figure it out. You were supposed to keep trying, keep chasing, keep believing that if you just loved him better, it would be enough. But enough was never the goal. Confusion was the goal. Dependence was the goal. Your diminishment was the goal. This realization doesn't feel empowering at first. It feels devastating, because it means accepting that the person you loved was capable of hurting you on purpose, not in a moment of anger, not accidentally, but systematically, consistently, while telling you he loved you. It means accepting that your love, your effort, your sacrifice, it was all poured into something that was designed to drain you, that the more you gave, the more he took. And it would never have been different. It means accepting that you weren't fighting for a relationship. You were fighting against someone who needed you to lose. But after the devastation comes something else. Something unexpected. Relief. Because if he wanted you to feel that way, then feeling that way wasn't your fault. The confusion wasn't evidence of your inadequacy. It was evidence of his tactics. The self-doubt wasn't proof you were broken. It was proof you were being broken down. You weren't crazy. You were being made to feel crazy. You weren't too much. You were being told you were too much so you'd become less. You weren't the problem. You were the target. This thought changes how you see every memory. The fights you replayed 1,000 times, trying to figure out what you said wrong. You didn't say anything wrong. He was looking for a fight. The affection that was withheld until you felt desperate for it, that was control. The compliments that came right when you were about to leave, that was manipulation. None of it was love. It was a performance of love, with you as the audience and the prop, never the partner. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The spell breaks. The fog lifts. The patterns become clear. And you realize that the version of you that exists now the one who doubts everything, who apologizes for existing, who can't make decisions, who doesn't recognize herself in the mirror. That's not who you are. That's who he needed you to become. But you're not her anymore. You're not in that situation anymore. And every day you're further from it, the real you comes back a little more. The you who trusts herself. The you who knows her worth. The you who doesn't need permission to take up space. She's still there, under the rubble, waiting. This one thought, this shift in perspective, it's the beginning of excavation. You stop asking, what's wrong with me, and start asking, what was done to me? You stop trying to fix yourself and start trying to heal yourself. You stop carrying blame that was never yours and start placing responsibility where it belongs. With him, the person who chose every single day to make you feel small so he could feel big. You didn't deserve it. You never did. And understanding that he wanted you to feel this way doesn't make the pain go away, but it does redirect it away from yourself, toward the truth. And the truth, even when it's painful, is what sets you free. This is your moment of clarity. Hold on to it, especially on the days when the doubt creeps back in. Remember this thought. He wanted you confused, and you're not confused anymore. If this thought found you today, you're ready for it. Subscribe to keep seeing clearly. The truth is on your side now.